Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity on the Nintendo Switch. And it's been a while since we have done a review on the Switch. I think the last game that we did, it was either Breath of the Wild itself or it was Octopath Traveler, which is an amazing game. But I asked my community, I said, hey guys, do you want me to do Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity as a review? And they, even though it came out last year, and they were like, yeah, please do. So I thought, you know what, I'll get it, we'll do it, and we'll give it a good old crack. And we did that. We did exactly that. Now, in total, I've put, I'd say around the 50 hour mark. It recorded 44 hours of game time, but we saw it wasn't recording the cinematics in the timer. Because this is my, I think, 6th stream. Is it? I think it's 6th. Let me just, I can actually double check that. Day 4, no, 5th. 5 days, and we averaged around about 7 or 8 hours. Some days I stayed on longer, some days I didn't. So it was way above the mark. So we're going to break this game down in the exact same way that we break every other review down. We give it a fair chance, a fair opportunity, and I showcase pretty much the entire game on stream on Glimmage for you guys from start to finish. And even the save file itself highlights it as completed, so we can crack on with this review. Whew. Now, if you know about how my reviews start, I always like to look at the one of the most important aspects of any video game, and that to me is the choice of music used. And I do have to say there are a lot of music soundtracks that they have in this game that I favored, that I enjoyed listening to, and it kept me wanting to play those specific levels again and again because I really did enjoy them. There are some songs I didn't get along with. There are some enemies that that they're classed as bosses and they had horrible music going with it. And it was the big stone monster itself. I really didn't enjoy that soundtrack one bit. And you fight that specific enemy quite a lot in the game because the game likes to recycle and reuse a lot of the horde of enemies that you fight. And yeah, overall, wasn't massively a fan of a few pieces of music that they utilized, but it didn't break. The audio didn't break in any way. The soundtracks didn't pause, glitch, or break in any way. It worked from start to finish. I just wish that they changed some of the music, because even a friend of mine confirmed, Uzi confirmed that music was also in the Breath of the Wild. And I was like, oh, they could have at least made it more epic of a fight music, but they didn't. Voice acting. There isn't a huge amount of voice acting in this. We do get to hear a lot from some of the key characters, the King, Princess Zelda, and some of the Guardian Avatar players that take hold of the Ancients itself. And I still don't, I'm sorry if this hurts anyone's feelings, but I seriously don't like Zelda's voice actress. I don't. It doesn't fit Zelda in my opinion, but this is just my opinion. This isn't going to knock points off the review in any way. I just didn't enjoy her as a voice actress, and I just don't think it works. But that's just me. But overall, you're not going to get Link having a random conversation. You're not. Even though a lot of the hardcore fans of Link always have, just please talk, just please say something, please. But no, he doesn't. He's the silent knight again. I can't fault the voice acting at all. The narration, it worked. Even if I don't like Zelda actress, it worked. So again, I can't knock any points off the review because I specifically didn't like it. Graphics, texturing, and weather effects. One sec. Ugh. The graphics that's utilized in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is pretty much identical to Breath of the Wild. But I have a complaint. And it is a complaint that was noticeable, annoying as hell, and kind of wound me up the majority of the time. I don't know what is broken in the heads of the developers of the game, but too many levels are way too over contrasted. They are way too bright, and I'm so freaking glad that I was wearing my glasses, because I guarantee you, if I didn't wear these bad boys, I would have given my head more headaches than I normally do. I didn't like a lot of the levels, and I really mean a vast amount of levels that you have to do, specifically certain desert levels as well, and terrain levels that you're running around in the field, because it's too bright, and I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand why that's even a thing. It is going to impact this review massively, because I think it was a massive mistake to leave the game as bright as it bloody was in certain parts of the game itself. And I'm sorry, it on my 4K screen, even though Nintendo, you don't do 4K itself, 1080p, 720p, and all that jazz. I'm still pretty disappointed that you allowed a lot of the levels to go through at such a high brightness and contrast level. It got to a point where I couldn't see certain things correctly, and I couldn't see detail correctly. It all just washed into itself, and it looked awful. Like really bad. So I'm sorry, but that's a no-go. Straight there, it's a no-go. There are a lot of levels that utilize the weather effects, again, just like the Breath of the Wild, the rain, thunder, and lightning itself. I always get hyped, really excited and hyped over weather effects. I love them within games itself, especially rain, thunder, and lightning. I can't fault anything else on that side of it, but I will fault the graphics and texturing that they used on the with certain maps being massively over contrasted. It was terrible. Character model design, any glitches and bugs within the graphic engine. Every single character pretty much looked exactly the same as they did in Breath of the Wild. I mean, if you're not sure about what this game is, it's basically the prequel to Breath of the Wild. It's set 100 years using the Dynasty Warrior combat engine. So it's you versus 1,000 troops, pretty much. And that's how Dynasty Warriors always do their games. But the story is set 100 years before Breath of the Wild, and that got me excited, because I was extremely disappointed with Breath of the Wild. I thought it was a fantastic open world adventure game, but it was one of the worst Zelda games I've ever played, because it really didn't utilize the lore around Zelda, Link, Triforce, Ganondorf, and all that lot. It really didn't do a good job of it at all. And it left way more questions than answers. It really did. So, again, it was more reason to get this review done, I guess. Gameplay and mechanics. Oh wait, glitches and bugs within the graphic engine. The game suffers quite obviously from massive dropped frames when too much is going on. And I don't know if that is purely down to the hardware of the Switch, which I bloody hope it's not, to be fair, or the fact that they need to revisit the graphic engine that they're using and maybe tweak it a little bit, because a lot of the characters that I utilized like to do loads of fancy combos while throwing some of the little mechanical weapons out, and it just caused major dropped frames within the game. It stuttered a few times, and I was like, oh, are we going to break the game? Are we going to break the game? No, we didn't break the game. And again, I'm pretty disappointed with that. I'm not going to lie. I don't think any game in 2021 should ever really suffer from frame rate issues, or even though the game came out in 2020, it still shouldn't have been a thing. So yeah, when you do too much carnage on the screen, expect your game to freak out just a little bit. Gameplay and mechanics. As I said beforehand, the gameplay is Dynasty Warriors with Zelda skins. Now, this is the second Hyrule Warriors game that they've done. They've done another one. And I actually did a review on that, but it was quite a while ago itself. And I remember that game pretty hardcore because I got to play as Ganondorf in human form, and he was phenomenal. So gameplay in this compared to the previous one, this game is way too easy. Way too easy. Not only that, but the mechanic gameplay, the AI intelligence and stuff like that are dumb as hell. Really stupid. The majority of the time they just stand there and do absolutely nothing unless you give them a specific instruction or an order to go do something. But even then, they're still technically not really doing anything. They're just running in and just holding the enemy aggro until you switch to that character and kill them, or drag the character that you're using all the way over there to kill them yourself. But it's fun. I do like carnage. I do like killing hundreds and thousands of enemies. But it got to a point where the gameplay became very repetitive, very draining, and very boring. I played every available character that they had. They had 16 characters, but I also saw you can play as Calamity Ganon. If Calamity Ganon is only available once you 100% everything in the game, then good luck with that, because we left some of the boring missions that I couldn't be bothered to do. I really couldn't. The majority of the map was all complete. It was just there were a few missions that were just I didn't want to do because I was bored at that point doing all the repetitive missions over and over again. And I'm not joking either. This game takes the biscuit when it comes to rinse and repeat of the exact same missions that you've done previously. Not only that, some of the missions are stupid and pointless. Like halfway in the game, as Hyrule was being, there was a war going on, Link got a mission to go and pick up fruit. Fruit. Of all things. And I was like, alright, I can't believe that. There is way too many missions in this game that are just stupid, pointless, and boring. And good luck. Good luck with your patience level. Because it will take its toll. It really will. Mechanics, as I said, Dynasty Warriors mixed in Breath of the Wild. Boom. There you go. You got two different genres of games being smashed together. There you go. Replayability and game difficulty. Oh, bloody hell, this game's got replayability in it. God forbid if you 50 hours easily of the game, you are going to be doing a lot of the same thing over and over again. And if you want to unlock all the little hats, all the little shirts and the trousers, be my guest. Go knock yourself out, please. As long as you're enjoying yourself, that's all that matters. But I am not doing it for a hat. I am not doing it for extra dye colors. No, thank you. No, thank you. But even when you do complete the game, even more side missions pop up. It's like, hey, but do you want this? Do you want extra abilities? Do you want that? Again, knock yourself out. But this game, 100% replayability, massive. Game difficulty. On any review, I will always review the game on normal mode because I want to get a feel and a grasp of what the developers wanted as a casual playthrough. And it was too easy. It was way too easy. I'm talking some of the missions you can use some of the skankiest characters in the game, and yeah, you can get them done within minutes. Under 5 minutes, most of the missions. You just get the skanky character just to do his AoE ability, rinse through all the mobs, and you're done. It got that boring for me. I utilized that just to get some of the missions out of the way because I was just getting bored, and I was gobsmacked when I found the character, and then gobsmacked that there was another character that was almost exactly the same. They were both birds, and we will call them dickheads because they were dicks. They literally just went in and wiped everything out in just a few arrow shots, and their arrow spread is absolutely disgusting. So yeah, you can find skanky characters in this game to help you clear out and rinse the mobs if that's what you're looking for. You will do it. You will. Because it's just an easy way to get it out of the way after you've rinsed and repeat the same thing 1,000 times. Any game, customization, stats building, and characters. Customization, Link, as I hinted earlier on, he's the only one that you can pretty much dress up. You're running around and you're looking for all the outfits that you can get. And a lot of them take place from Breath of the Wild itself. And you can dye them if you want as well. Woo! Which is great. You can level your characters up. All of them can be leveled up itself, earning you more hearts itself, which means more survivability. You can also unlock statted weapons within the game itself. You can do blacksmith fusion on weapons. You can remove fusions. You can add them into them. So in terms of customization, there's a lot that you can do around the weaponry. There's a lot that you can do around Link's appearance. But all the rest of the characters don't really get that same sort of attention, that same sort of love. It's mainly just Link, the star of the show. But I will say today's stream, I think it was, which was 7+ hours, we dressed Link up as Dark Link. So in the cutscenes, you actually see him protecting Zelda as Dark Link, and I personally found that freaking just ironic and hilarious that Dark Link was trying to save Princess Zelda. I thought that was fantastic. But stats building, it pretty much RPG elements of like Dynasty Warriors. When you utilize one of your characters, you can level them up, make them stronger. You level up their weapons, make them stronger. You can attach ruins to make them even more powerful, and there's many different unique ruins giving your weapons all sorts of crazy abilities, all sorts of crazy stats. So have fun with that, because there is a lot around all of that. I am going to say though, be careful about wasting your money, because there were so many occasions where you put resources and money into a weapon and then a new one drops 5 minutes later that outdoes your one completely. Just be very, very, very careful with that. Story, if applicable. I'm not going to lie, right? I am not going to lie. I said this during the stream itself. I was disappointed. And I'm not saying a little disappointed, I was pretty disappointed. Because I was really, really hoping that the story of Age of Calamity would give us all the questions that I wanted about Ganon, where he came from, how did he do this, how did he do that, and blah, 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 blah. And it didn't do a good enough job. I don't know why we can't get a full story lore of this, but it seems that 2 games together can't do it for me. And what makes it worse is a game that's set 100 years before Breath of the Wild should have queued itself up for Breath of the Wild. And it didn't. It left me with more answers, more questions than anything else. I'm not gonna lie though, there is so much story in this game that kind of pisses all over Breath of the Wild's game completely. I'll leave it for you guys to play out. I'm not gonna tell you what happens. I'm not gonna tell you any of that because that's spoilers, and that's something that we don't do. I don't spoil the story itself, because there is a lot of amazing story in this game, a lot of emotion, a lot of joy, loss. It's the story in this is fantastic. It's just that it didn't do what it should have done for me. What I was hoping for was a tie-in to Breath of the Wild. That's what I was hoping for, and we didn't get it. So I am actually disappointed that they didn't do it that way, because it would then, you got part 1, part 2, pretty much. You play this, then you play Breath of the Wild to finish that storyline off, and yada yada yada. And that's not the case. Sorry, I'm still ill. Online co-op modes, features, and stability. This is a couch co-op game. And what annoys me is that I was really hoping to play this with a friend online. And no, it's couch co-op only. And that sucks. Massively. Massively sucks. Because me and Me Uzi, I think, could have had a hell of a time. Like a hell of a time. So I can't talk about online features. I can't, because it doesn't exist. And I can't tell you about the online stability, because it doesn't exist. Purchase price, digital price. Is there value for content? The physical, around the UK, the majority of places sell it for $49.99. It doesn't surprise me, even though the game's been out for a whole freaking year, but Nintendo have their grasp around the prices so much that the majority of the time all their games are still full price. The digital price was exactly the same. Now, I was lucky enough to get my copy from Shop 2, and I got mine off Amazon. Amazon.co.uk had it for £36. So I grabbed it. And that's the one that we reviewed itself. So £36. Is there value for content at £36? Yes. Is there value for content at £50? Yes. I'm not going to lie. There is 100%. It's a £50 game. Does this feel like you got your money's worth? And in my opinion, oh hell yes. 100%. I really do. I genuinely do. So would I recommend this at £50? Yeah, if you wanna experience the story and play a Dynasty - Breath of the Wild mix over, then sure, 100% go for it. If you can get it cheaper though, try. Try if you can. Try. That's pretty much the breakdown analysis minus the notes. So we're going to go through the notes. Some of the notes are going to basically be repeats of what we have already talked about, what we've already said. So couch co-op, physical prices, blah blah blah. Very bright contrast. The very first level we noticed it instantly, was like, whoa, this contrast is way too high, way too bright. The ability to rewatch cutscenes and re-listen to any of the music, love that. Thank you for that. That's an awesome little add-in. I do love that. And you get to look at the character art in the system gallery. Again, I love when games do that. It's just an added thing, and it gives you more content to play with, and I do love it. I actually wrote down dislike Zelda's voice. The ability to command teammates to certain destinations. That's a nice little... Again, they're only there to hold the aggro though, really. They do tiny damage, but they're mainly there for aggro holding. Costume unlockables for Link only. Boo. Ability to use Divine Beasts is awesome. It is. Until the game gets you to do the same type of mission 10 times. Have fun with that. NPCs, no real dialogue. They just make toilet noises. Yes, you'll notice that every time you want to talk to an NPC on the world map, it's basically grunting, moaning, pleasure noises, and something about ball bags. Good luck with all of that as well, by the way, because if it makes you laugh, it made me giggle every now and again, but I'm sure it'll make you laugh too. Only 20 weapon slots. That got debunked because as you play through the game, you'll actually unlock more weapon slots. At the beginning of the game though, having 20 weapon slots kind of sucks big time because you have to get rid of some certain weapons. If you're not aware of what you're binning, you might bin a nice weapon. So be very, very careful. Look at your weapon stats, and if you see the blue pluses, those are the ones that you want to keep, because those are the ones that basically buffed up of the original versions. And if you get 2 pluses, they're the best. So keep those. Reveal is the broken character. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. The birds. Don't play as the birds unless you want cheap characters. Recommended level doesn't really have much impact on the normal difficulty of the game. I took a character in at one point that was about... If I was to give you a guess, they were like level 15 and the mission was like level 40. It made no real impact on the difficulty for me. And that character leveled up like 15 times in that one match just because they were so underleveled. It was fantastic. There is an ability, there is a unlockable within the game, a military center that allows you to pay rupees to level up your characters in the game. Don't ever do that. You don't need to do shit like that. Just pick a very high level without a time limit, take in the lowest character that you got, use an experience food buff, and just watch your levels massively fly up. It's hilarious. Korok's hidden within story missions. They're collectibles. I did love the collectibles in the game itself. I did love finding these little fellas as well because they're very similar to how you find them in Breath of the Wild. I just wish that they were utilized a little bit better in maybe just more unlockables for all the other characters. But they're mainly more weapon slots and stuff, and mainly for one of the characters to learn their abilities, and that's really it. I was hoping a little bit more than that, but that's all they gave it for. Frame rate issues during we've already talked about that. The ability, I know it's a tiny thing, but you get to control the little dude that's running around the loading screen. You get to go around bouncing on your team's heads, and I thought that was adorable and just a funny little gimmick. Veil Naboris, which is one of the ancients, was the only ancient that had a charge bar. I didn't like it at all. All the rest of the ancients can shoot unlimited over and over and over and over and over again, but one of them had a charge bar, and when it depleted, you had to wait before you could reshoot again. I thought that was silly. If you're going to give a charge bar to one of them, you might as well just give the charge bar to every one of them, in my opinion. If not, none of them have a charge bar. Just saying. Selling certain items to certain vendors gives you a increase in money. Once you unlock the majority of all the merchants itself, make sure if you're going to sell anything, sell it to the right merchant, and you will get an increase in money out of it. Mass spammed missions with all the set. Yeah, we've already talked about the spammage of missions that are all the same. We've already talked about that, and we've already talked about that. I am going to say the ancients in the game, you know, the ones that Calamity Ganon takes over in Breath of the Wild, are so massively OP that, honest to God, there is no point sending any of your team into missions to fight ground enemies ever again. Those Calamity... those ancient, machines are so massive and powerful that they can wipe out thousands of enemies in one attack, one swift move. And yet you send Link out into into Hyrule Forest to fight a couple of enemies. I found it hilarious. I really did. I think they could have done the story a lot better in that respect. I'm not saying take strength and power away from the Guardians. I'm just saying that make the team on the ground seem a little bit more important than what they really are. Because it makes no sense. It really doesn't. Why would I struggle personally running characters through missions when an ancient can just go boop and blast and blow them all up? What's the point? What is the point? The only way I think they could have fixed that is don't allow us to use the Guardians at all, which would have sucked the fun out of it. Or make it so they could only be used at certain times and not all the time. Like they had to charge up their energy levels, which took like days, weeks, or months or whatever, and they could only go out on one attack and something. Because that would make it way more sensible, you know. But that ain't the case. That's all the notes written down. That's everything. All it boils down to now is, what am I going to score the game? Will I give a recommendation? I'm going to give a recommendation because I think I think it's a very good game. I really do. I genuinely do. I think it's a very, very, very good game. It's just that there are quite a lot of things that really, really let the game down, in my opinion. One, the contrast and the brightness is broken in a lot of the levels, and I'm disgusted that that's even a thing. It's heavily obvious it's broken. The frame rate stutter and the game slowing down at certain OP things, again, shouldn't really be a thing. The Ancients being as OP as they are and putting the team to useless, I think that's just bad scripting in the story and could have been dealt with far better. And just the fact that I was disappointed with the story itself. Other than that, the game worked great. The majority of the soundtracks are fantastic. The combat was fun. It was enjoyable, but did get boring. The characters were all great. It had emotion within the story, loss within the story. You know, victories and stuff like that. This is a hard one for me, but I kind of had a scoring in my head since yesterday. Depending on how the story panned it out, would give it either a half point left or right. But I can't accept a game that's so stupidly bright it's ridiculous in certain areas, and that's a point straight away removed. I felt the story could have been better and could have tied in better with Hyrule Warriors. With Breath of the Wild, and they didn't do that. And I think they should have done that. That removes a point as well, in my opinion. It does. The frame rates, okay. Stuttering here and there, half a point. But what also kills it is the fact that they recycle so many of the stupid missions, and it just gets boring and boring and boring. Yes, it adds to replayability, but god damn, it's boring. But I did have fun. I did enjoy it. So it's going to start pushing back against those points that have been removed. So in my opinion, I am satisfied and happy scoring Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity on the Nintendo Switch. I am satisfied giving it a 7 out of 10. And a recommendation if you're a big fan of the story lore within Breath of the Wild and you want to know a little bit more. Just not everything, which would have been nice. But I do feel 7 out of 10 justifies this game. I don't feel right going any lower, and I definitely don't feel right going any higher. But I really do hope that this review breakdown analysis has given you guys a little bit more insight into Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and has helped your future purchase, or even if you just don't want to waste your money, it's completely up to you. Thank you very much for watching the video. Leave likes, please. It's always great. Comments, please. I'll always try to reply back. And just don't forget, I am now streaming over on Glimish, where we are live right now doing this recording. Come say hello, create an account, be a part of the community. It'll be great. But yeah, thank you very much for spending time with me. Have a great morning, evening, and night, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Thank you.